Abby, and this is Tucker, and today we're going to tell you what to do if you find a stray dog, which Tucker was. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to take a picture. So before you try to catch them, before you start to chase them, because a lot of these dogs that you might find as a stray, they're scared, they're really scared. And they may not like new people. So you want to take a picture so that you can post it on Facebook so that you can at least send it out into the world that there's a dog here and this is when you saw them, and that may help the owners find them sooner. So the second thing you want to do is, if you can safely catch them, check for a collar. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they have a collar with tags and IDs that you can call the owner. That's absolute best case scenario. Get them in your car safely if possible. And then call the owner and they can come pick them up and you're good to go. And make sure you check all the way around the collar, because sometimes the no jangle tags get hidden, especially if it's a really fluffy dog. And some people actually just Sharpie their number on the collar, which works really well, especially for like farm dogs that could get their tags caught on something. And of course, tags can fall off. So check all the way around the collar for a tag, and if there's not one, and you're in like a neighborhood setting, try knocking on a few doors. You may either find where he belongs, or you might find somebody who knows that dog and knows that he's a stray that's there all the time, or where he belongs. Big thing you want to do is you want to make sure that if you can catch them safely, you want to get them to a safe place. So hopefully you're not in the middle of the highway where they could get hit. Get them either to your house if you can, call the shelters. Just if a dog's, running in the middle of the road, you don't want to just leave them there for them to get potentially hit. If you can get them safely, that's not always a possibility, unfortunately. But if you can, and you're able to, try to get them to safety. The next thing you want to do before you take them home or wherever you plan on taking them is have them checked for a chip. Microchip, hi baby, is a little glass or plastic chip that contains an RFID code. It can be read with a microchip scanner. They're usually inserted in between the dog's shoulder blades. That's where they're inserted, but they can travel. Yes. Microchips can't be seen though, so you have to have a scanner to be able to read them. It's important that you have a universal scanner to read them. Most veterinarian offices do, most shelters do as well, and some smaller rescues will. So that's why I have mine, because I run a small rescue. So you just click a button, and it might look different than this, but that's okay. So you just get your puppy, who is very much a puppy. You're very much a puppy. So you get your puppy, and you press the button, scan between the shoulder blades, and then if they have a chip, it'll read out a number. You then want to take that number and input it into a website. So mine has a website on it, petmicrochiplookup.org. That is basically a huge website that has a network of websites where people register their chips, and you can put their number in and it'll pull up, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's registered, and it'll pull up the name and the contact information for the owner. If there's not a microchip, it sucks, but you definitely want to check for one, because collars can get torn off or broken, but a microchip's always going to be there. And it's important that when you're checking for a chip, you don't check just between the shoulder blades. You want to check down the front legs, way down the back, down your sides. Check the whole dog, because it's not super common, but the microchips can migrate to different places. The next thing you want to do is call your shelter if you didn't go to the shelter for it to be microchipped. This is a little bit dependent on your state and your county, but most counties hopefully have a local animal control animal shelter, and then hopefully a couple rescues. You want to contact them and see what you have to do about a stray hold. Almost everywhere has a stray hold law, and they vary definitely between state to state, but also between counties. So it's important to know what your county's laws are on how long that animal needs to be on stray hold, which is a hold specifically so that the owner is able to find the animal by the time that time frame is up. Sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 2 weeks. It just kind of depends on your state and on your county. So you want to make sure you check your laws and figure out what's correct. Call the shelters. Sometimes they'll put up a courtesy post on their Facebook page and post pictures up in their actual shelter, but you want to make sure that they know that you found a dog, so that if someone comes looking for that dog, then they can put you in touch with them. Sometimes they might require you to send them to the shelter, and if you're not able to foster that dog, then that's what they're there for. That's why we have animal controls, is to have a place for the stray population. So you could take them there. If you are able to, ideally you'd be able to foster the dog so that you're not overwhelming the animal shelters. But that's a personal choice. If you can't foster them, you would take them to a shelter. It probably depends on where you found the dog, in most cases, on which shelter you would take them to. So make sure you're taking them to the right one. And if you call them, they'll let you know what the proper way to do it is. The biggest thing is you never, ever, ever want to rehome a dog. Like, you don't want to just pick up a dog on the side of the road and be like, oh, no one loves it because it has ticks or fleas, or it's looking a little skinny, or it's straggly, or it doesn't look groomed, or whatever. You never want to just pick up a dog, assume it's unloved, and then try to rehome it and give it away to a farm or whatever, because dogs can very, very quickly lose weight. And have you ever had a dog go out to your yard and get totally messed up in a mud puddle, and then all of a sudden he's the most homeless looking thing you've ever seen? It does not take very long at all for a well-groomed, well-taken care of dog to look really straggly and really unkept. So it's important that you abide by stray hold laws, because one, they are laws, but also that very well could be someone's beloved pet, and you want to make sure that it goes back to its owners. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. There's not always an owner looking for him, but you need to give them a chance to find their baby before you rehome it. And if you choose to foster it through the stray hold and rehome it later down the road after that is complete, then you absolutely want to make sure that that dog is neutered and has been vetted, and vet the new adopter, but that's a whole new thing. But you, of course, want to have taken on the responsibility for that pet, and you need to make sure that he's taken care of. Neutering and vaccinations are absolutely a part of that. Like Tucker here, he was found on April 3rd in Cleveland, Tennessee, and his owner has never been found. It's now April 19th. He's been neutered and given up to date on shots, has been heartworm tested, and is on heartworm prevention, and he is looking for his forever home. There's been a lot of natural disasters going on recently, hurricanes and tornadoes, and just the stray population in general is a little bit out of control in most places in the United States. So it's very important that when you find a stray baby, you make sure that he's taken care of properly, and you do your absolute best to try and find where he belongs. Yes, that's right, Tucker. That's right. Facebook is a great resource for this. There's lots and lots and lots of lost and found dog pages on Facebook. Post pictures and location, date, and time you found them, and hopefully we can reunite some more strays with their families. Just to recap, you want to take pictures before you ever touch the dog. If you can catch the dog, check for a collar, talk to locals, and try to see if anybody knows the dog. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Get the dog to a safe place, whether that's your own home or the local shelter that's appropriate. Have them checked for a microchip, so that could be done at a vet's office, a shelter, or most rescues. Call the shelter, whether you plan them there or not. Call them shelters and all the rescues and let them know that you found a stray dog. Post on Facebook there are other websites for lost and found dogs. Post on there to make with pictures, date, time, gender, all the information that you have about the dog. Yes. Check your stray hold laws and make sure you abide by them if you do go down the route of, if you decide to go down the route of fostering and rehoming. And always, always, always make sure that the dog is properly vetted before you rehome them, especially including neutered. Whether that means you pay for the dog to be neutered, which can be done at low-cost spay and neuter clinics, or whether you drop the dog at the vet's for the adopter to pick up after they've been neutered and the adopter to pay for it. Either way, make sure that you're doing your part to reduce the stray population in the future by having neutered pets. You're right, Tucker. You're right. So I hope this was helpful and educational, and please share so that other people know the proper way to take care of strays. And I hope eventually the stray population is no longer a thing. Thanks, guys. Bye. Say bye. Bye.